Hi everybody, welcome to D-Town TV, the weekly show for DSLR shooters. My name is Scott Kelby.
And I'm Matt Klaskowski, and we are here with season number 2, or season number 3, or kind of...
It's really season 3.
Yeah, but 2 since we started doing the season thing.
Right.
You know, who knows? Anyway,
We're back.
The more important thing is, we're actually back when we said we're going to be back. There's no 16-week delay inside here.
Yeah, we said we'll take 4 weeks off.
And we're back.
No one's more surprised than we are.
To celebrate our punctuality, Scott is going to kick us off with a tip here.
Right. Hey, I just recently came back from vacation during our 4-week break. Went on vacation, and I was with some other shooters, and they were kind of new. So I wanted to start off by doing a tip for beginners. And what I want to do is over this show and the next 2 shows is do a series of tips for beginners of things to just help you take your photography to the next level. So we're going to go out to the field, and we're going to start with the first one today, which is really about shooting in low light. If there's one problem we never hear about from our viewers, it's that they're having a hard time shooting their kids in the playground at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Nobody seems to have any problem with blurry photos when they're shooting in nice broad daylight. Where the problem comes in is you walk indoors and you look through your lens and you take a shot and it looks good, even though it's lower light, and you go ahead and look on the back of the camera and it still looks good. But then you open the photo later on your computer and you realize the shots were totally blurry. So here's what it is the problem really is that your shutter speed has fallen so low that you're not going to get a sharp shot by hand holding. So how low is low? Well, for most people, if it falls below 1/60th of a second, you're going to wind up with some blurry shots. So if you're looking through the viewfinder and you're looking there and you see a number lower than 60, you're probably in. Now, there are people that can shoot at 1/30th of a second and be really, really good at hand holding, but as a general rule, 1/60th of a second means you're going to have blurry shots. So what do you do if you look through there and you see 1/10 of a second? What do you do? The first thing that I would do, indoors or in the shade or any place where that number falls below, is I would open my lens wide up and shoot at the lowest number aperture you can. In this case, on this lens, it would be f3.5. I lower it to f3.5, I take a look, and if it's still lower than 1/60th of a second, then you're going to go to plan number 2, which is to raise your ISO. You don't really want to raise your ISO unless you have to, or if you have a really expensive DSLR that's really great on low noise, but most cameras aren't really great at low noise. So if I'm shooting at 200 ISO, which is the native ISO for this camera, I'm going to get the cleanest, most noise-free pictures. If I have to raise it to 400 ISO, the good news is my shutter speed will go up, and my chances of getting a sharper photo go way up. You know what else goes up with it? Probably the noise in the photo, those little red, green, and blue dots of noise that you see all over stuff. The higher you raise the ISO, the more noise you're going to get. So there is a little bit of a trade-off. But in the big picture, if you have to look between a very blurry photo or a very noisy photo, most people will take a photo that's sharp but noisy, preferable to one that's really, really clean and it's so blurry you can't use it. So my first choice is always go to f3.5 or whatever lowest number you can. If you can go to f2.8, even better. The second one is raise the ISO. The third one is a trick I'm going to give you that I use a lot of times when I'm shooting something where I know the light is low. What I'm going to do is I'm going to actually switch my camera to shoot in continuous high speed mode. What that's going to let me do is crank off a number of photos. So if I'm in really, really low light, I'm going to shoot a bunch of shots. Let me go ahead and... All right? A lot of those are going to be out of focus. But the good thing is, usually, one of them will be in focus. This especially works well if you're on something moving like a boat in low light or something like that, or anytime you're shooting people in a moving situation. If you shoot enough shots in a row like that, and of course it'll probably go a little slower, it probably won't sound nearly that fast. It'll probably sound something more like this, or worse. Something more like that. When you hear that, you're going to get a lot of blurry shots. Blurry, 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 but all of a sudden, boom, there's that one crisp one, and right back to blurry. But remember, you don't need probably 20 shots. You just need that one, and that's a great trick to help you get there. All right, back to the studio.
All right, well, thank you, Scott.
You're welcome. Welcome, happy to do it.
Hey, we had Moose Peterson by the office a little while back, and Moose took us out in the field. He's got some good tips for us. Let's go check out the first one. That's a big lens.
Big lens.
And a nice tripod.
Yeah.
And what's it holding, Moose?
This is a 600 VR with a D3X. And I want to talk about a little bit about using the Wimberley tripod head. It's a gimbal head. What that means is we have one center point here in which all the weight is distributed. A lot of people, when they use this, they sit there and they crank it down, and that's the worst thing. Yeah, it's the worst thing you want to do. Okay, you want to have this taking up any kind of movement that might be caused and suck it up and not vibrate it back. But more importantly, when you're out here shooting this long glass, we want to set it up for action. You know, you're not going to be doing like landscapes with a 600 VR lens.
Yeah.
You're shooting something moving big time. So you have your pan, your vertical. You want them, and it's going to be different for each person. The variables here is how much weight you have up here, okay, because it's a mass thing, and then how much mass you have moving your hands.
So if you had a bigger lens, which nobody in the world has.
Not at this point. But you could put teleconverters on here, which would make it physically longer. Then how tall you are and all those kind of things. So you sit there and you want to basically play with the friction on this, so you have movement, but when you let go, it doesn't move. And then the panning, that's kind of the tricky part. You want to turn it so you have to push it to move, but not so much that it chatters.
Yeah, it's almost like it's a little bit forceful to move, but you don't have to really push at it, because then it probably gets a little bit jerky too.
Yeah, and then it gets too loosey-goosey and you go flying past your subject.
Gotcha.
And then the last thing is the actual knob of the lens barrel. That's always loose. You can go vertical, horizontal really fast.
Okay.
So this
Good
whole
tip.
movement, and then see how it go, so it's never locked down when I'm shooting.
Gotcha. So it's kind of a, it's one of those things that's hard to give an exact. You can't say, set it at this setting and then go for it. It's I
There's
can
no
see.
scale, there's no nothing, because as it wears and breaks down, it changes too, so it gets hot, it gets cold, it expands, contracts, all those variables come into play.
As with many things, practice.
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 Moose, thank you for coming on again.
My pleasure.
I know it's difficult, because
It's painful,
yeah, it is painful.
but hey, thanks for having me.
Hey, no problem, man.
All
Thanks
right.
again.
Hey, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, Matt has a lens tip for you. We have a very special guest in the studio. If you're into wedding photography, you want to make sure you stick around. We'll be right back. Don't go away.
All right, beautiful, beautiful. Okay, a little bit closer. Okay, that's it. Work a little bit to the side. Yep, there we go. That's it. Hold it. Time for a close-up. Brad, need 2.5 F2. Can I get that hair adjusted, please? All right, the hair's looking good. Looking good. All right. That's it. Work the hair. Work the hair. Come on. That's it. Give it to me. There we go. Beautiful. Beautiful. Yes. Work the hair. That. Oh, look at the eye. Give me that. Oh, there you go. Beautiful. Excellent. Hold that pose. There we go. Beautiful.
Well, hey, folks, we are back. Scott Kelby here with Matt Kluskowski. And Matt, you've got a tip on lenses.
I do. So we're going to start off here. I've got the Canon 70-200 IS f2.8 lens. And you did a tip before on shooting in low light, and that IS, the whole image stabilization thing, it really helps out when you're shooting in low light. It helps you get sharper photos. One of the things that we hear is that there's actually some stabilizer settings on the lens, and what do they mean? So there's one called stabilizer mode, and it's got two switches, 1 and 2. 1 corrects for vertical and horizontal movement. Number 2 corrects for just horizontal movement. So the best example would be, let's say that you were panning with something. Well, that's just horizontal, so it's going to turn off the vertical correction, and that could prevent your subject from getting jumped around in the frame.
Right.
Now, there's also something at the top called the focus limiter. So it's got two settings for it, 1.4 meters and 2.5 meters. The best example for this is, let's say you were shooting sports, basketball or could be baseball, where there was something going on at, let's say, the other side of the court. That's where you would turn your focus limiter to the greater distance, 2.5 meters, and it will limit the lens from focusing on something that's closer to you and kind of keep down there where the action's going. As things moved or if things were going on closer to you, that would be an example where you'd want to turn it to 1.4 in this case on this lens.
Okay, now you have two different modes there. So for stationary objects, you're using stabilizer mode 1.
Correct.
And for things that are moving and you're panning with it, stabilizer mode 2.
You got it.
All right, if you're a Nikon shooter, we have the 70-200 f2.8 equivalent here. And of course here it's called vibration reduction rather than image stabilization, but it kind of has some of the same things, so it has an on and off switch. Also, I turn off the stabilization altogether on my Nikon when I'm shooting at high shutter speeds. So if I'm shooting outdoors and it's a nice sunny day and all, you want it to actually turn this off. You only really want it on when you need it. That's number one. Number two is there's a switch on here on the Nikons from normal to active. So normal is normal.
Probably most of the time.
Regular, right. But active is, let's say that you're shooting on something that's moving, like you're shooting on a boat and the boat's moving or something, that it increases the amount of stabilization. So that's normal and active switch on here. And it has a limiter, the focus limiter switch as well on here. Now, a couple other things. I know that every time that I show this with this lens hood, people ask about it, so I might as well just cover it. So this is a little screw-on rubber lens hood. It's made by Mamiya, and what I like about it is it's rubber, so it can take a beating. So if you slam it into something, it doesn't matter. What I love about it is it does not fall off. So a lot of times this is my second body for shooting like a football game, and I lose a lens hood every single shoot until I got this, because this screws on where the filter screws on. So it screws on like that. Also, it collapses like that.
Fits
so it
in
fits
your bag.
in a smaller bag. I really, really love it. It'll also fit these 70
Yep, we
to
just
200
tested it out.
Yeah, we just tested it right before the show. It'll fit right on there as well. So it's a little collapsible thing. It's from Mamiya, or it could be Mamiya.
We're not sure.
We're not sure. But anyway, it's one of those two for sure.
We'll put the link on the website though.
All right. Hey, we had a very, very special guest come by the studio and do something for us, an incredible wedding photographer.
Yeah, Cliff Mountainer is here, and he's actually out on location, and he's shooting a bride in the example we're going to show you here. And what's great about it is he's got a really good way of teaching how to get that edge light around the bride, and it's a little trickier than you think, because you're out in the light, but he shows you the one trick that makes sure that you get that nice little edge right around your bride. Let's go check it out.
Now in this particular scenario, I see this beautiful highlight on Ashley's face. That's really what I'm interested in. So when I approach the scene, before I put the camera to my face, I automatically see the dark area behind there. I'm going to take my exposure compensation. I'm going to probably start at minus 0.7, which is minus 2/3. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to take a frame. I'm going to glance very quickly. I don't sit there and chimp. I don't sit there and look forever. I take the frame, I glance at it, boom, glance, adjust from there, and continue to shoot. I'll bob, I'll weave, and I'm just looking for a light. Now, if I had a groom in the photograph, I'd be looking for interaction between them. Maybe just some hand play, just kind of goofing around with each other. The entire time, I'm making picture after picture after picture, and nothing's going to change. It's going to be a beautiful scene, and I'm going to get that gorgeous light right on her face.
All right, thanks, Cliff. Hey, I wanted to show you guys a very, very cool accessory if you shoot with off-camera flashes, whether it's Nikon, Canon, whatever. They're called sticky filters. So when you go into these situations, when you move from one lighting situation to the other, of course your white balance is going to change. You can change your white balance on your camera, but that's not going to change the fact that you are blasting solid white light onto your subject. So what we're going to do is we're going to balance the light from the flash using these sticky filters. So here's what sticky filters are. They're very small. They're pre-cut to the right size, but the very cool thing about them is they are actually sticky, so they stick right over your flash, and they're reusable. So for example, all you have to do is, step one is to kind of look and see which lighting situation. So if you're walking into open shade or it's a hazy, cloudy day, you'll just pull out the hazy open shade one, all right? And then you're going to peel off, there's just a little thing you peel off, the actual sticker itself just peels right off. And you just slap it over the front of your flash. Now don't forget to set the white balance in your camera as well, of course, but now you've got your camera balance to the scene, and now you've got your flash color balance to the scene. And when you're done, you just take it back off, it goes right back on the little sheet, and the sheet goes right back in here. So they're very cool. They're called sticky filters. You can find out about them at stickyfilters.com, but we have one to give away.
There's more.
We're going to give you one away. Go by the website. So it's at kelbytv.com/dtowntv. And we have a comment section. Just leave us any comment. Make sure you say anything, and you're entered.
Hey, so that brings up an interesting comment that I saw at the end of the last season. Somebody actually went onto the comment section and said, why do you guys wear black shirts? I can't see the equipment. It's really annoying me. We've covered this before.
Brighten your monitor. Okay, hey, we would like to leave you guys with some inspiration after each show.
Yeah, Tyler Stableford. You've got to check this guy's portfolio out. Just amazing work. He's also got a blog as well.
Yeah, he's terrific. We met him at the Photo Plus Expo in New York last year. Met him in the Westcott booth. We went over in the booth. We went over to Canon and watched him do a presentation. Terrific photographer.
Yeah.
Great guy.
Very cool stuff. So you can find out more over at his website. Make sure you do check out his blog because he posts videos and things there as well.
It's TylerStableford.com.
Yes. Well, that wraps up the show this week, folks. I'm Matt Klaskowski.
I'm Scott Kelping. We'll see you guys next week for the second episode of what could be either season 2 or 3. We'll see you guys then. Take care.